Hello, everyone. I hope everyone had a good coffee break and that caffeine is actually working, because I want this talk to be about continuous delivery, scalability, and observability, but not about my capability to keep you awake. So, but I am optimistic. I'm confident at the end of this presentation, you will have an idea or a thought or something interesting you take back and want to implement in your workplace, or at least a story of a guy who is trying to talk about testing to sleepy people on a rainy day. So let's get started. So yeah, hi. So my name is Sandeep Kumar. I have almost 2 decades of experience in software development, most of it in software testing. I'm currently working as a practice lead for web and backend platforms quality at Gumtree, Australia. I love exploring open source technologies like many of you. I'm into portable audio, hi-fi, and headphones, because of which I developed quite quite a useless skill, I have to say, where if you show me a headphone, I will actually tell you the model and the brand. But it's not the time to test that because we have other important things to do. But now that I have said I work for Gumtree Australia, I am suspecting somebody has a question that they want to ask me about. If they are not, I will leave it to the end, else I will answer it straight away before I jump into the discussion. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Scammers? So if that is the question you wanted to ask, so I just want to say we have invested a lot of time over the many months, almost a year, to improve the safety of the customers. As a seller and a buyer, we have introduced Gumtree Pay to improve the security, and using a lot of AI and ML to keep your messaging safe and as well. So give it a try. You will definitely find it quite useful compared to our competitors. So we are Gumtree Group. Most of you people know Gumtree, but we are also Cars Guide and Auto Trader. All three together are called the Gumtree Group, and we are a very lean team doing interesting things, some of which I want to talk you guys through today. So before we dive in, um, this is the gist of what I'm going to talk. It gives you a brief idea of where you can fall asleep, where you should not, and where it gets very interesting. But to understand what advantages you get when you use scalable test automation with observability, first we need to establish what you are missing. So we may have to go through some rhetorical slides at the beginning as we move into the interesting things. So before we jump in, this is how our continuous delivery currently looks like at Gumtree Australia. So we do continuous delivery, and we push changes, push code to production every day. We send multiple changes to production every day, and the bottom graph is actually the bug leakage. You can see it's almost zero. Bug leakage, like critical and blocker bugs, it's almost zero. So this is the stage we are at, we reached, and this whole presentation is about how we reached there. So this is the one for 2023, and this is the one for, the other is for 2024. So our journey there started with that one usual question every team asks themselves, which is, do we even need automated tests? It's a very controversial topic. Many teams think they need, but not many people are sure how to use them, how to deploy them. And I hope this talk will give some ideas around it. Yes, we do need automated tests, but what do we miss when we don't have automated tests? The first thing is frequent manual regression. So it's not as simple as I write it here. Like you need to do a lot of testing and you find bugs, and as the bugs are fixed and merged back, you need to redo your testing. There is a lot of repetition of testing involved, needs a lot of patience, and there are so many things that can go wrong, and merges needs to be tracked and all. So this all leads to like creeping of time and releases getting pushed further and further. So because of which the long turnaround time for regression, when we want to release, a bug is fixed, you need to repeat the regression so that the important features are not broken. You find a bug there, again to fix it, you need to repeat the thing. So there is a lot of time spent there to making sure nothing is broken. In this process, finally you are pushed to a stage where you need to take some risks. You need to let some bugs through because we are reaching, everybody is pushing for, we need to release this, it's important, people are waiting for this. So we reached a stage where even you miss critical issues and they leak into production, either due to the confusion of the code merging or due to risks you are taking, or just the pressure of having to push code to production. So slow development and release cycles, these all leads to slow development and release cycles. You have to live with it. Time-consuming testing becomes bottleneck for releases. We have, everyone here might have experienced that through. So delayed feedback, like as you delay this feedback, as you find bug, they fix it, and again you find another bug, you fix it, and regression issue ensured. Like it leads to this cycle of constant retesting, losing time, and the releases becomes unreliable. Everyone is too scared to release on a Friday. Maybe the no release Friday movement maybe started from this. So the releases are unreliable. It's just chaos. So what if we have test automation, but it is not scalable? Let's say we have some kind of test automation, but it's not scalable. Let's call it like namesake test automation. Does it solve any of our problems? It won't actually, it will increase our problems because no time savings are achieved because since it's not scalable, it takes a long time to run and they're not reliable. No time savings are achieved compared to manual testing. If you try to increase the test coverage, it will further increase the test runtime. So you will have the same set of problems when you don't have test automation, which is you still have the delayed feedback and releases. You still find difficulty in scalability and maintaining the tests. Higher cost long term. Tests take very long time to run and they take very long time to maintain, and release bottlenecks. The same release bottlenecks continues. Teams lose confidence in the tests. Like people think these tests are not reliable, they are brittle. Maybe this is not the right tool. We have selected the wrong set of tests to do. People don't believe these tests can actually give them confidence to push changes to production. So what do they do when they tend to lose confidence? So they don't want these tests to run on the release pipelines, though. So they are just left to run on the side, just to give some feedback or something, but not actually end-to-end tests. So what happens? There is teams or the leadership hears about a new tool that seems to be solving everybody's problems. So people tend to jump to that new tool, hoping that it will solve their problems. Again, like I mentioned, people don't want to merge it into release pipelines because in case they are doing a bug fix or fixing a prod issue, they don't want these tests taking a long time to run and break and stop you from merging your code into master and pushing into production to fix that production issue. So enough of the complaints. But what do we propose to do? So what I suggest is a blueprint for building a scalable test automation that should work for most platforms. If you are like Gumtree, it should definitely work. So what is it? So the main thing is the culture of quality. First thing is establish the shared approach to quality. So QE is not QE or a test analyst or a quality analyst is not a quality gate. And they are not the main people responsible for quality. The team is responsible for the quality. So the way we do is QE is a quality coach for a team. The team is responsible for quality. If a bug is leaked into production, it's not the QE that is blamed, it's the team, because it's their responsibility to maintain the quality and they have to work together. Once this shared approach to quality is established, things get a lot better. So, okay, yes, let's say we agree, team is responsible for quality. What next? What next is to have a company level agreement on commonly shared vision on risks. What are the, like as a company, what are the risks that we can take? What are the risks at no cost we should not take? So this kind of agreement should be arrived right from the leadership team all the way to the QEs and every team that is involved. So differentiate between the risks, like I said, the risks that are acceptable and that cannot be taken. So use the above framework to arrive at what we call golden scenarios for your platform, or some people call them P1 scenarios. Arrive at a list of golden scenarios for your platform. So these golden scenarios become like the most important thing for your company. No matter what change, even if it is a single line of code, how important, how serious the code change is, no code change can go into production breaking these. So these scenarios should always pass for any change to go into production. So deployments targeted at good enough level. So every change you push need not be perfect. They can go into production with some pending non-critical, non-blocker defects as long as they don't break these golden scenarios. So deployments target at good enough level. So if you ask me the most important thing for any company or a team, it is that they need to focus on. People might give lots of answers like shift left testing, shift right testing, and many other things. But the core of everything is the focus on testability early in the development cycle. In fact, like as a company, as a team, you should have a strategy for testability. Let me give you an example to make this easily understandable. For example, let's say we are pushing a feature into production, like every user that hasn't logged in to the platform in the last 6 months should be blocked. Let's say this is the feature. So as we start working on making code changes for the feature, we should also start thinking about the testability right from the beginning. So we should have data available that will enable us to do this testing right from the beginning. Without that, if we work on this thing, it will be very difficult later in the stages, just when we are ready to push to production to test these things. So focus on testability early in the development cycle. So we at Gumtree Group, we focus on testability. We take it very seriously. How we do that, I have a lot of information in plenty of slides later. But have a company-wide strategy on testability for your team success. Testability is like the most important thing. Scalability is built into your tests at a foundational level. Sounds good to read as a statement, but what is it? We'll see more on the later slides. So the baseline, which most of you already know, might have known, isolate the test to be atomic, independent of each other to take advantage of the scalability. So each of your tests should not be dependent on each other. They should be able to be run independently. And if you plan them that way right from the beginning, so whatever scalability you add it to that, these tests can take advantage of it and give you faster feedback. All things will come into play. So ensure the underlying infrastructure is highly scalable. So whatever infrastructure you're using to run these tests, it should be highly scalable. It is such an important decision to take, which is ignored by many teams. But this is one of the other third important thing after scalability and atomic tests. Highly scalable infrastructure is very important. So what do you mean by that? Invest in high capacity proxy test servers, for example, Selenium grids in our case. Invest in high capacity Selenium grids. Have one within your virtual private network so that when you run these atomic tests against them, you get fast feedback instead of them taking a very long time to run. Many of the CI/CD pipeline tools like Jenkins and all, they give you the ability of running stages in parallel. So in addition to investing in high capacity Selenium grids, if you actually make your test stages run in parallel, not just parallel tests, various test suites in parallel, you will save more time. So there itself, you will be saving plenty of time and providing faster feedback for any change going into production. So yeah, most of you might have known about this. You should target the scenarios at API and UI layers efficiently. So you know what tests should be targeted at the UI level, what tests should be targeted at the API level. API tests are cheap to run. You can run them very fast, as many times as you want. So a lot of scenarios that needs various test scenarios like checking various values and error codes and all, it's a very good idea to run them at the API level. Some things that are dependent on the UI or testing the UI layers should be tested at the UI level. So target the scenarios at API and UI layers efficiently. Each test creates and purges its own data. So before any test runs, it should create its data and it runs the tests and then it purges the data. The advantage of this is it reaches the state of the test faster. And if we have a scenario, it reaches the state of the test faster, it does the test, does its assertions, and then destroys the data. So when you add all the previous steps of adding scalability and you have this, your test will actually run a lot more faster. So remove any chances of cross-contamination of data between the tests as well. Because if there is cross-contamination, you're reducing the reliability of the tests and you are losing whatever value you are trying to achieve out of your tests. So you have all these things. If you have invested in all these things, then be confident to make end-to-end tests a mandatory stage for all the pipelines going into production. And many people think it is actually a disadvantage that end-to-end tests are flaky and non-reliable because they are communicating with various external and internal services and there are so many dependencies. So they don't want to run them, but if you had worked on all the things we have discussed till now, be confidently make them part of your pipelines going into production. And as a team, accept that end-to-end tests will have a lot of dependencies. They are prone to failures, but it's a good thing because the moment your tests are very sensitive, they will help you identify any small changes, any small failures that creep into your code. They will be able to identify it. As long as you have a support process in place to assist development teams to push their changes into production, these things will all work together and fall into place without an issue. So be confident about doing these things. So another thing is record. So as these tests run and running on your pipelines going into production, record any failures or workarounds or issues or bugs or update to the tests you have made, anything interesting. If you have a periodical technology group meeting like tribal knowledge, present it to the rest of the team. This is how the release went into production. This is the state of end-to-end tests. and discuss it with your team, gather their feedback and responses, and act on the feedback and report back. This culture of exchanging this information will help you further increase the confidence in the test by the team. People will understand, okay, this is the thing, this is the reason these are failing. So let's say you do all these things. What advantages does the scalable test automation bring? So while if you ask me what is the most advantageous thing of the whole thing you do, this is the one. While automated tests cover the golden scenarios in regression tests, devs and QEs can focus on progression testing. We all have so many thoughts on so many scenarios. We want to test a feature, new feature going into production, but where do you find the time? By saving your time you spend on regression, by using this scalable automated tests, you save time, and the devs and QEs can collaborate and use it on progression testing for all the new features you're pushing into production. So regression testing timelines from days, they drop to minutes, which almost sounds magical to say, but we have seen this happen. From days, the regression timelines will drop to minutes, which means you can run these end-to-end tests as many times as you want. You can send as many changes to production as you want. It gives you so many advantages. So yeah, you save time. Like even devs, before they push or merge their changes into master, they can run these tests on the side on the local using on-demand pipelines and get feedback and fix any issues. Or they eventually anyway run on the pipeline, so you get very fast feedback and you get all these advantages. So the other thing is the time saved by the QEs because of this scalable automated tests, they can invest into working on interesting initiatives. What are those interesting initiatives? I can quote some examples later in the slides. Those initiatives will further improve the test, further improve the processes, and give people more confidence in the whole process. So confidence boost in the process and releases and features going in, peace of mind. So the current state, from having many product-related production issues, you will see the production issues have massively dropped, and people have that peace of mind that they push these changes into production. It gave them the confidence that they didn't break any of the golden scenarios, so they are fine. Nothing is going to happen this weekend, even though they push these changes. Massive drop in incidents related to product. There could still be incidents related to cloud or infrastructure or something, but from a product point of view, you will not have any blocker or critical defects. So how does this scalable test automation look at the Gumtree group? I have tried to quote some examples. The shared vision that I was talking about and the golden scenarios. So these are some of the golden scenarios that I was talking about. We have scenarios falling under each of these categories, and any small change, even if it is just a one-liner or anything, will run all the tests related to these golden scenarios, and when they actually turn green, only then the changes go into production. So it gives people confidence, like they push these changes, it's fine, we didn't break any important features, it's good to go into production. So what is the Gumtree approach to testability? Like I mentioned in some example, we take testability we give a lot of importance to testability. One of the ways we do it is using this guy, which is we actually developed this tool called a bot, which we call Dr. Strange. Why we call Dr. Strange? Because it sounds almost magical that he's able to create all this data. So this bot actually connects to a backend microservice that connects to our MySQL servers and backend APIs to create on-the-fly test data. So, like you can see some examples here. like I'm asking Dr. Strange create user in staging. It connected to our backend MySQL and came back with a user and a password and how to use it. And then I asked it to create an ad listing in certain category. And if I don't know how to use it, it can also give me some help. So the way this is useful is like devs are developing some feature or they are improving a feature, they can reach the state of the test very fast. They don't need to spend time building the test data. They can use this to quickly create the test data and finish their work. So this is just one part of how we use this backend service. The second one is, like I mentioned, the regression tests run drops from days to minutes. Right now, this is all our regression tests run that I showed, all the golden scenarios. They take like 10 minutes to run the full regression. So this includes all the UI, API, SEO, front end, back end, all these tests. They take 10 minutes. 10 minutes is all that it takes for these tests to run and give feedback. So this is also a promise we made to ourselves and the company that we track this very much. Like we try to make sure by playing with the scalable aspects of the platform to keep this under 10 minutes so that you get as fast feedback as possible to push changes into production. So how do we achieve this? Like I mentioned, we invested in highly scalable Selenium grids that stays within the VPN of our GCP and AWS. And on the top of it, all the investments that I mentioned before, and reaching the state of the test faster, all this together are helping us achieve this, being able to do regression under 10 minutes. So yeah, this is another thing of the backend microservice I was talking about. I spoke already about Dr. Strange. We also have another service which we call Minion, which talk to the microservice called QAbot. Both do the same thing. Dr. Strange is actually a Slack bot, and Minion is what our automated tests communicate with. They basically do the same thing. But using Minion, the automated tests create the test data, reach the state of the test, do the testing, and destroy the data. Whereas Dr. Strange helps people create test data on the fly using the Slack integration. And we recently added some AI aspects to it using Distilbert, which helps people. Earlier, people had to give exact commands. Now, because of this integration, people can just randomly ask it, create test data here in like this. It tries to understand it and create the test data. So it made the life a lot more easier. So another thing which you can, once you have all this entire setup, you can actually, every test run, almost every test framework gives you a metadata of the test runs, which you can push to a observability tool like Prometheus. Like in our case, we push it to Prometheus. Any test run that runs, whether it's Jenkins or CI or Circle CI or any tool, we push the metadata of the test run to Prometheus, which is picked up by Grafana and gives us a lot of observability advantages. This is something, if you have invested in all these things and you have reliable tests, this is something I highly encourage everybody to do. It gives valuable insights into the health of the test, health of your platform, what features frequently break, what features need some looking into, and other stuff. So this is a sample of the Grafana reports that I was talking about. So you can see average number of scenarios run at a time, the flaky tests, how many times it was retried, the failed tests, test run times, average build health. We get this data per each environment and also per each stage, and also for environment like desktops and mobiles. So the other thing I was talking about, the culture of quality. So we have a team of QEs who provide testing services like a test op service across the team. So we have somebody on the roster providing the release support, helping various teams push their changes to production. So as part of their work for that week, they actually track what happened for any release. If there are any failures, they actually track what happened and make a note of it. And this report is actually discussed in the weekly travel knowledge. It gives them, first thing, it gives the rest of the company and the team confidence that somebody is actually tracking them, and what things broke, and what are the changes that were made. And many times the dev teams make the mistake. They actually don't test and directly merge into master, breaking lots of stuff. So they get all kinds of feedback from us. This will ensure next time they don't do that mistakes, and this whole process is smoothened out. So we do this, and like quarterly as well, we actually collect what are the list of bugs that these continuous testing stop from leaking into production. And it gives them like, okay, these are the mistakes that were made, this is what happened. So they are actually getting real-time understanding of the advantages of investing in these tests. So what are the kind of tests we have? Like I mentioned, we have lots of UI tests, API tests, front-end performance tests, back-end performance tests, PI data tests, and SEO tests. Something interesting we did as an initiative, which may not have seen in many places, is the PI data test. For example, Gumtree being a favorite spot for scammers, we need to take a lot of care about personal identifiable information of the customers. So we have tests, actual Selenium-based UI tests that makes sure a logged in user is able to see only things that he is supposed to see. He is not seeing what they are not supposed to see. Again, a non-logged in user is seeing what they are supposed to see. Like, for example, an anonymous user is not supposed to see the full address. So these tests actually make sure those things happen. So we have stopped many like PIA data being leaked into production by having these tests. And we also have lots of SEO tests, because SEO is important for our other two brands, which are Cars Guide and AutoTrader. Same thing for the front-end performance tests. We invested in a tool called Debug Bear. Same thing, like these tests run for every release going into production, and if the performance dropped by a certain percentage, the changes are not allowed to go into production. So yeah, so I thought giving this screenshot a good idea. So we can see in this screenshot, like early morning, by the time we logged into work, the tech teams have a very clear idea what is the state of the master branch, or like the staging environment. Is it broken, or is it green, and everything. And somebody, if it is broken, the test results will show it. And somebody from who is on roster for that week will actually log in and make sure, checks what's wrong, and creates that report and works on them. So this is the parallel stages I was talking about. So Jenkins is one of the examples. So not just parallel tests, it can actually run stages in parallel. So we take advantage of it. So we just run all the tests in parallel stages. So instead of running sequentially, this allows us to save lots of time. So all these tests together will take 10 minutes. If we run them sequentially, it will actually take a lot more time. So this is just one of the things that helps in scalability. The other ones is investing in high capacity Selenium grids, investing in Minion, reaching the test stage faster. All these things together helps us scale our tests to the level we want. So in the gist, all these things together helped us reach this state of continuous delivery, where we are able to send multiple changes into production with minimal defect leakage. This is the same slide I showed you at the beginning. Pretty much that's it. Anybody have any questions?
What's stopping you from going to 10-minute releases to a 5-minute release?
We can, like, it's just investing investing in increasing the capacity. Yeah, it's just that. But like as days progresses, we add more features, we add more tests, it keeps growing up. So we thought 10 minutes is a good number to keep it. Yeah, we can go to 5 minutes. Yep. Yes.
First of all, great talk, by the way. Just one quick question. So the observability you said in Grafana, do you also have the set? I mean, is that for both your test and your production environments?
So
Do you manage that yourselves, or is that like a separate CI/CD?
So the observability for the end-to-end test is what we manage, but like observability for cloud, front-end and back-end, like literally every team has it, like it's being like a common thing. But I think observability for end-to-end tests is commonly looked down or not much used. And that is something we should use because it gives us so much insight.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So the same question for the observability, because when you're sending data to the test report may not have that much information to send to see how the server is behaving, request and responses, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're grabbing everything and you're sending it through.
Yeah.
So you can only send the test report and tell you how much is passed and the progression over a period of time. Yeah. Which you can actually grab it from any test report. So what's the value to that?
Yeah, but like test reports, we don't like save every test report in the CI environment or in like a cloud, right? Yeah. Yep. But if you actually forward the same metadata instead of the test report to a time series DB, it gives you lots of insights which reading individual test reports might not give you. That's the point I was trying to make. Pushing it to a time series DB is totally different to just reading individual reports at a time. It will unlock a lot of insights about your tests, who is breaking features most, what features are mostly breaking. It will give you a lot of insights. And like you said, most teams, 99% already have observability for their cloud backend, microservices and everything. So if you actually correlate it with that data, it will unlock further insights. Yes.
How frequently do you update your golden scenarios?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. It's an ongoing process every day. So, I actually don't have a slide about how we are organized. So we have people working as a quality coaches that I mentioned in the cross-functional teams. Part of their day-to-day work is checking the impact on the golden scenarios. If it is impacted, they update the test or remove the test or write a new test. If there is new golden scenario, they write a new test. So these tests undergo changes every day. So the count either goes up or goes down, but it keeps changing. The changes every day. And like I said, it's so important to keep them sensitive. If they are sensitive, they give you very good feedback. So sometimes, like the reason unit tests always pass is they are not sensitive, they are isolated. Whereas if you keep this test sensitive, any change anywhere in the chain of the code execution, you will know immediately. Yes.
Have you ever had to, say, operational reasons or meet a deadline, had to release despite one of your golden test fails?
Sorry, I didn't get it.
So has there been a situation where you've been forced to, either by deadlines or business needs, to release anyway despite one of your golden tests failing?
Yeah, no. One of the advantages of being in the space of what Gumtree is, we don't usually have clients or somebody breathing down our necks. This has to go into production. If you like it, we'll push. So, and this process has been like fine-tuned over many years. So we reach the stage like the moment it fails, we already know. So this is the thing that might have broken, this thing that will fix it and all. So we got that kind of insight into these tests. Yes. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, all are like technical QAs, are highly technical. Everybody knows how to code and they have deep understanding into the DevOps process, how to write tests in at least one programming language. All are quality codes. There is no separate QE. Yeah. Yep.
to achieve this, to get it done in 10 minutes?
So it didn't take actually much time, like because not sure if you guys know, Gumtree used to be owned by eBay. So we had this engineering culture right from the beginning. So there is a kind of understanding already, like the quality is a team responsibility. It's not QE's responsibility. We always had low number of QEs. So it didn't take much time, and the quality of code we had, technical capabilities we had is very good. So it's pretty fast actually. It's not something we sat one day and decided we did do. It's kind of like a very organic journey that we have traveled through.
The reason why I asked you is I'm
Yeah.
from the banking domain
Yeah.
and I've not seen these success factors
Yeah.
getting executed in 10 minutes,
Yeah.
get deployed into production.
Yeah.
That's the reason I asked.
Yeah, one of the factors I have to say is, again, you are in banking domain. You don't have that convenience of like Gumtree. Like banking, I think you have a lot of compliance. You have to make sure like every scenario is important. You cannot like let like a level 3 or level 4 bug leak because it didn't break any golden scenario. So you're in a different space, but that should not stop you from like trying to go on this path. Like you can implement many of these things in your workplace as well. But yeah, I think start with like keeping your tests atomic, invest in like increasing the capacity of your underlying environment, reaching your test stage faster. If you do all these things, it should be pretty smooth.